Good evening and welcome once more to the second day of the sixth edition of the Lonavala International Film Festival. Unfortunately, we are not in Lonavala. We are sitting on Zoom, but I promise you next year, and I'm promising this to all our panelists as well. Madhav sir is going to take us to Lonavala next year. We're going to spend 3 days in the sylvan surroundings of Lonavala, watching great movies and discussing movies. I
Hold
have
on.
with me, I have with me Madhav Todi, the festival director of the Lonavala Film Festival. I have Ashim Samanta, whose father's films we are paying a tribute to. We have RJ Divya Solgama. Divya is one of the few people I trust and respect because he knows more about cinema than I do. And I'm supposed to be the encyclopedia. So if he knows more than I do, you can imagine how much he actually knows.
No, that's
And,
not true.
no, it's true. And he'll prove it just now in the
I'll
next
send it to you on WhatsApp right away. I'll send it to you right again.
minutes.
I'll send it on.
Madhav, would you please put yourself on silent? Thank you. And of course, I have Pooja Desai, a very old friend and a very old film buff. Well, she's not a very old film buff. She's an old friend who's a film buff. And today we are here with the second day. And today's film is the outstanding and evergreen Kashmir Ki Kali. And it is one of my favorite films. I'll start by this. I know Sharmila Tagore was launched in this film, but I also know that she did some Satyajit Ray films before this film. So how did Shaktida actually, Ashim, get hold of Sharmila Tagore? And it was a very long and a very, very durable association.
Yes, well, as the title suggests, Kashmir Ki Kali. So he wanted a new girl, Kali. So he was looking for a new girl, and he, in a film magazine of Bengal, he saw this very pretty girl's photograph, and he came to know that she was working in a Satyajit Ray film. So immediately he contacted her. She was just 17, not yet, about 17 years old. And so he went to Calcutta and signed her up. And well, after that, she started.
The rest is history, as they say.
Rest is history.
They did a lot of movies together. Kashmir Ki Kali, they did Evening in Paris.
So we did Kashmir Ki Kali, Sawan Ki Ghata, Evening in Paris, Aradhana, Amar Prem, Anand Ashram, Amanush, Charitrahin. That many.
A lot of movies.
Lot of movies.
I think that's fantastic.
And some of them were in Bengali versions
Yes.
too.
Bengali versions.
Anand Ashram and Amanush were in Bengali.
Both in Bengali. That I suspected because with Uttam Kumar being the hero of those films, it would have been foolish not to make them as bilinguals.
Yes.
So let's go back to Kashmir Ki Kali. So Kashmir Ki Kali was all about Kashmir and the mountains and the hills and the romance. And the essential part of this film would have been the outstanding music, because film without that kind of music would not go anywhere. And I have here with me my very old friend Tushar Bhatia. Tushar is a very major O.P. Nair fan. His entire score in Andaz Apna Apna was reminiscent of O.P. Nair. I also have with me Divya Solgama, who's an equally big O.P. Nair fan. Though Divya and me are actually fans of every sort of music, provided it works, you know. Tusharji, tell us what you can about the music of Kashmir Ki Kali.
Honestly speaking, first of all, hello to everybody. All
Hello.
here, Pooja Desai, Ashim, Bhai, Viveck, Madhav. Thanks for having me here, Divya. Thank you. Kashmir Ki Kali is iconic. But before I speak about Kashmir Ki Kali, I'm going to talk about Shakti Das films, which had O.P. Nair style music before Kashmir Ki Kali. Howrah Bridge, with the famous Mera Naam Chin Chin Chu, and Aiye Meherban, Ye Kya Kar Dala Tune. After there's another deadly score of Nair Saab in a film called Jali Note. Each and every song of Jali Note was mind-blowing. And I think there were a number of duets, over 10 duets of Asha ji and Rafi Saab. And I mean, you couldn't tell who's done a better job in picturization, whether Helen or Madhubala. I mean, Devanand, I think, went cockeyed with the two and great songs. Great songs. It was just too good. Gustakh Najar se Chehre se Utha, and each and every song, I can't tell you. Ye Kya Kar Dala Tune, Howrah Bridge. And before we go to Kashmir Ki Kali, I want to personally thank Ashim Bhai on behalf of all OP Nair and Geeta Dutt fans for Shakti Da, who tried and who made Mera Naam Chin Chin Chu. It was his insistence. He said, Geeta Roy will sing my song. I will not do a film without Geeta Roy. So Nair Saab, who had composed all the songs on Madhubala for Asha Ji for the first time, waited till Geeta Ji came back from Calcutta and she did Mera Naam Chin Chin Chu, and the whole film ran on that song. And that was, unfortunately for all of us, Geeta Ji's last song for Nair Saab. After that, the two didn't combine for whatever reasons. It's a big tragedy. But Shakti Da, we are grateful to Shakti Da, all the Geeta Dutt fans and Open Air fans for getting this song made, you know, Mera Naam Chin Chin Chu. And I think that song also made Helen, the Helen as we know. She was there from before, but the song. Now, coming to Kashmir Ki Kali. If you ask me what do I think about Kashmir Kali music, I'll say I'm speechless. Yeah. But then I can go on for 3 hours, knowing my love for that music. Kashmir Ki Kali, I think Nair Saab and Shami Kapoor, they did before Kashmir Ki Kali 3 other films. So there was Mehbooba with Nalini Jaywant. There was again with Nalini Jaywant, Hum Sab Chor Hain. And then there was Tumsa Nahi Dekha. All right. So Tumsa Nahi Dekha really made Shami Kapoor Sahab, I'm quoting Shami Kapoor Sahab here, the Shami Kapoor as we know it. The music of Tumsa Nahi Dekha. And then there was this magic of Kashmir Ki Kali. I mean, what can you say about Tareef Karo Kya Uski? What can you say about Isharo Isharo Mein? What can you say about Kisi Na Kisi Se Kahin Na Kahin Dil Lagana Padega? What can you say about these songs? They are like the gift of God to mankind, in my opinion. But if I talk a little more specifically about the music itself, the orchestration, the melody that Nair Saab created. If you know, Kashmir is pahad ka pradesh hai. और पहाड़ी राग का बहुत बहुत कमाल का यूज उन्होंने इशारों इशारों में और तारीफ करूं क्या उसकी इन गानों में किया है दुनिया उसी की बलमा खुली हवा में and all the other songs. I mean, you can do PhD on those songs. So this was magical score. And in fact, I feel very sad. Personally, I feel very sad that Balma Kholiya Mame, which is such a favorite, was never picturized, or maybe it was picturized and cut.
It was picturized. Because of the length of the movie, he cut 2 songs. That is Balma Khuli Hawa Mein and
Thes Lagi Dil Ko.
Thes Lagi.
Both
Yes.
of them.
Ashim, didn't you all ever think after the film?
Please release the songs. If you have them, please release them. I'm begging you to do that.
Yeah, we are all begging you, please.
Unfortunately, you know, those days, nobody thought of the...
You must be having the rushes, Ashim Bhai.
No, it's not there.
Please look for them in your house, in your godowns, in anywhere you can see.
At least for Balma
You know something. Balma Khuli Hawa Mein, in the film, if you see it carefully, you know it's coming. It's coming because the lovely alap and orchestration of Nair Saab and Asha Ji's alap, and she's going around in the garden with her sakhis, and you know, now it's coming, and it doesn't come. It's so bad. It's so bad.
It was beautifully picturized also.
Oh yes.
The length, he had to cut it.
I'll just.
Why didn't you just get it for us?
Pooja, you mustn't have been born when Kashmir Ki Kali was made.
Not at all.
I
don't even know if my mom was born when Kashmir Ki Kali was.
Do you remember anything about the film? Because I remember you told me you'd speak to your nani.
Yes, I did actually. So my nani is my Nanaji's wife, but she's also his biggest fan, and that's why they got married. So she is the OG fan of his. So I did actually speak to her before the movie, because before our talk, because I was like, you tell me your perspective, because that's how she fell in love with him, you know, in the cinema halls, and, you know, when she used to go and watch the films and, you know, see the euphoria around her and stuff like that. And she was just talking about, you know, the variations of all the songs in the movie, and each one was like it was like a buffet of variety, because the story was, you know, held forward by each one of those songs, and there was a lot of storytelling within those songs. And she was like, there was a bhangra number as well, and she was like, don't forget to mention the bhangra number. I was like, because it was her favorite.
So mention it. Which one? Hi re hi or
Hi re
Subhanallah? Which one?
Meri jab balle balle.
Oh,
Yeah, which is your favorite song from Kashmir Ki Kali?
How can you send
How can you
a
say
inside
that?
a candy store and
Because
say which kid?
Tushar has given us such a perspective, and Ashim, I don't think even you realized how many Shakti Samanta fans were there. A lot of times we don't tom-tom it. You're one of those discreet, sweet people who sits at home. You have no clue how big Shakti Samanta is in the world. You have no clue how much his music is worshipped across the world. You have a brand and you're sitting on it, you're not doing anything. With this festival, I want to tell you, let's do retrospectives of his films. Let's try to figure out, let's do merchandising. You have no clue how valuable these films are. Divya, over to you.
I must tell you about the songs of Kashmir Ki Kali. You see, it was decided earlier, before Kopi Nair came in, that Shankar Jaikishan would be giving the music.
Oh.
And what happened is one evening, Opi Nair Sahab was going through a little bad phase during that time. He did not have too many movies, and he called up Dad one evening and told him that, Shakti, I've got a lot of lovely songs. Why don't you come and listen to me? So Dad very reluctantly went to him because he had already worked with him in 3 films earlier. One was Inspector, then it was Howrah Bridge and Jali Note. So, but because Shami uncle and Dad had already decided on Shankar Jaikishan, so he was a little, reluctant, but he went all the same. And Opi Nair ji played about 45 songs, and he was totally floored. And he selected about 30-40 songs, and he said, I would like to bring Shami ji also, Shami to make a final selection, and after that I'll let you know. Then Dad called up Shami uncle. Shami, I had a sitting with Opi Nair yesterday, and I want you to come and listen to the songs. So Shami uncle said, Shaki, we have already decided to take Jackie. Jackie is Jackie, Shankar Jaikishan. So, but then Dad told him that, yeah, I've committed to him. I know we'll take Jackie in the next film. That is Evening in Paris. So Shami uncle agreed to come. And then Shami uncle himself also told me the same thing, the same story, that both of them sat down in Opi Nair's music room at about 6-7 o'clock in the evening, and until 10 o'clock, between them they had selected 12 songs. So eight were used in Kashmir Ki Kali, and 4 were used in Sawan Ki Ghata.
God bless.
You can imagine that one evening when 12 fabulous songs were made.
It must have been sheer magic.
It was absolutely magic.
And I have my little 2 bits to add there, because my eldest cousin, my elder cousin, and he's like my elder brother because his father died when he was 2 years old, my bua's son. And my father always said, Ashok is your elder brother. And he lived in Sharda building, 2 floors above Opi Nair Sahab. Opi Nair's son Ashish and Ashok they grew up together, they were the same age, they went to the same school. So every time I went to meet Ashok, I would sneak down and Ashish would say, that's my father. So I would see this hat and I would see this cane. And I would ask my elder brother Ashok, I said, Ashoki, who wears a hat in this age? And Ashish used to say, Opi Nair does. He used to be immaculately dressed. He had a temper. Believe you me, he had a temper. If he was shouting at his son inside, we could hear it on the 5th floor. But that was the iconic Opi Nair for you. Divya, you've been sitting quietly. Tell us more.
So, Vivek, the moment somebody talks about Kashmir ki Kali, मेरे लिए सबसे पहले तो दूरदर्शन की 5 बजे वाली जो मूवी होती थी, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock वाली मूवी. You remember, Kashmir ki Kali being played out there, entire family is watching. मम्मी रहेगी, दादी रहेगी, नानी रहेगी, सब बैठ के देखते थे, because that was what Shami Kapoor movies had, that magic, okay, everybody, even the kids used to like those films, music lovers, elders, everyone. Or I always talk about directors who used to choreograph some, fantastic songs in those days. So Raj Kapoor Saab was there, Vijay Anand was there, but people forget about Shakti Samanta. And I always talk about Shakti Da because the way he used to shoot songs, I don't think so. Let's start with Ye Chand Sa Roshan Chehra, It must have been so tough to shoot with both of them on the boat, wala cheese pe, boats going on perfectly choreographed, then circling in the end where he's dancing, getting that entire background shot of Kashmir. और वो जो पूरा पागलपन जो उस गाने में डाला, I mean, they did not have those cameras going, or
No
nowadays you
drones,
have
no
those.
steady
Nothing
cam,
was there.
no electronic.
No steady cam, no
And
those ones.
that song was shot in just 4 days. Can you believe it?
And when you look at that song, it looks, there's no flaw. Perfect song, perfect song.
In
Same
that-
thing goes for दीवाना हुआ थे बादल में भी, again जो garden से शुरू होता है, लेकिन जो original गाना उसके बाद जब होता है, when she goes inside the boat, he's in another boat and they both are crossing each other, that synchronization. And उसके बाद that शमी कपूर अपना हाथ जो छोड़ के जाओ, it's, वो गानों का तो music का beauty तो है ही, but the way
it's
he
the
shot
Michelangelo feel.
exactly,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And then coming to my favorite song of the film, I mean, all are favorite, but Isharo, Isharo mein. Oh God. मतलब शमी कपूर, मोहम्मद रफी साहब combination में जब भी ये थोड़ा sensuous वाला element आता था ना, they used to, I don't think so कोई और touch कर सकता है. Though, and you can see Shami Kapoor enjoying that song, because there's one sequence in the song where they're just going around each other in the bushes. It was shot, I guess, in the studio or somewhere.
studio.
But एक जगह है जहाँ पे she is dancing and Shami Kapoor could not hold himself. तो वो भी कुछ weird steps में dance करने लगता है. So,
Shall I just interrupt here?
Yeah,
one thing about this 6-week sequence. I did a show 12 years back about saving the girl child, and it was all about the film stars and their daughters. So Sharmila ji was the guest, and I was the producer. Tabassum ji was interviewing. So she mentioned this song. She mentioned Kashmir Ki Kali. She said वो कश्मीर में शूट कर रहे थे, और we introduced Sharmila ji with live performance of Taarif Karu Kya Uski. Okay, it's a nazm written for Sharmila Tagore. So as she walks on the stage, we performed Taarif Karu Kya Uski, Chand Sa Roshan Chehra, etc. She mentioned Isharo Isharo mein. She said हमारा जो कोरियोग्राफ्ड होता था वो सिर्फ मेरा होता था, शम्मी जी को कोरियोग्राफी नहीं होती थी. वो कहाँ से आते थे, कहाँ से जाएंगे. She used to be surprised in front of the camera. It was her real reaction. She didn't know what he was going to do. And the other thing she said was wonderful. She said she was a beginner star. I think she had just done Manik Das film earlier before that, Apur Shanshar, and this was her first film. And O.P. Nayyar Sahab and Asha ji came all the way for the shoot to Kashmir. They invited, Shakti Da invited them that come and be guests and watch the shooting. And Asha ji was very, very encouraging to Sharmila ji about her performances. And Nayyar Sahab was around. So it was like a wonderful feeling. And Sharmila ji herself mentioned this. The other thing which you mentioned was that whole sequence of the two, dancing. Yeah. But remember that in that picturization, there are two rows of boats going around the dancers and the claps and all the, I mean, how difficult. I don't know who the choreographer was. Maybe Ashim ji can tell us what choreography and what direction and what cinematography and that correct timing and that lighting and all. Wonderful.
True.
No, my father himself used to, there was a choreographer, Mr. Robert Master. Robert Master. But what he did was, the two circles, the boats going around. Yeah. He, at the head of, there were two rows of boats, like maybe 30, 40 boats on each row. And they were being pulled by a motorboat on both sides. So they were going round and round, and the motorboat was not in the camera. So
but to synchronize that speed.
Oh God.
And the girls dancing with the claps that end coda, what we call coda. Taarif mein sab claps kar rahe hain, and Amazing
अभी लगता है,
picturization.
अभी शमी साहब गिरे, अभी शमी साहब गिरे, अभी गिरेंगे, अभी गिरेगा, अभी कुछ गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. एक और गाना जो मैं ऐड करूंगा, and that is खुदा महफूज रखे हर बला से, सुभान अल्लाह. Shami Kapoor is in burqa, and that again song is shot in a truck. You know, now we are talking of 1964. You had moving truck, Kashmir में, and there is not 1% shoddiness in that entire song. उसके बाद भी हमने बहुत सारे 80s में गाने देखे, 90s 2000 में, where they have added that background में screen and all those things, and weird trucks used to be their shots, but this was totally choreographed and perfect. कहीं पे वो ऊपर नीचे कैमरा नहीं है. Superb, yeah, superb. The same
We
goes
were
for किसी ना
discussing
किसी से.
yesterday, Ashim, about आसमान से आया फरिश्ता. उसमें भी शमी कपूर, उसमें भी शर्मिला टैगोर, उसमें भी बोट्स पे लड़कियां, उसमें भी बोट्स और लड़कियों का. मतलब it was incredible how two such different songs shot with two such different kinds of music in two different countries.
Yeah.
The man was a genius. There's only one thing I can say. It was incredible.
And one more song, and that's है दुनिया उसी की जमाना उसी का. Again, typical Shami Kapoor song, but यहाँ पे एक वो जो lighting use किया था, Shami साहब in suit and you know Rafi साहब soft romantic अंदाज में, that saxophone going on. कुछ अलग.
Saxophone. The person who was playing the saxophone is the choreographer, Robert Master.
Okay.
Oh.
Wow.
Manohari Da, who played the saxophone. Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
Okay, for my Andaz Apna Apna recording, I had Manohari Da play in one of the songs, in two songs. So I asked specifically about Hai Duniya Usi Ki. I asked him कि ये recording कैसे हुआ, because if you notice, Nayyar Saab's orchestration is very detailed in all the other songs. You know, the antara music is not similar, nothing. In Hai Duniya Usi Ki, the saxophone, the alto saxophone, which is played by Manohari Da, it plays the same melody of the song. It's just a repeat of the main mukhda. Okay, उसमें दूसरा कुछ है ही नहीं. और वो इतना impact कर जाता है, for somebody who could do such detailed orchestration, has used such a simple decision to just repeat the melody. And उसमें Shami Kapoor is playing he's there in that scene. He told me, and Manohari Da told me, I said, इसके कितने take हुए थे? So he said, नैयर साहब के गाने में तो एक take maximum 2, इससे ज़्यादा takes नहीं होते थे. He used to rehearse the song 100 times with the singers, पूरा ये करके orchestration के साथ music सब तय करके. Once he's satisfied, final touch हो गया कि बस मुझे यही चाहिए, इसके बाद कुछ नहीं चाहिए. एक take had to be okay. Maximum 2, अगर कोई किसी की एक mistake हो गई तो. बोले इसलिए वो गाने इतने fresh लगते हैं. इतना कमाल है. एंड दीवाना हुआ बादल का जो सितार है, सरंगी है, संतूर है, क्या कहने, उसकी क्या तारीफ करे कोई. वो जो लाइन है, तारीफ करूं क्या उसकी. आई आस्क्ड नैयर साहब वंस, आई सेड ये लाइन आपने रफी साहब के लिए कही या रफी साहब ने आपके लिए कही? तारीफ करूं क्या उसकी जिसने तुम्हें बनाया. ये किसके लिए बनी है ये लाइन?
I feel कि you know मोहम्मद रफी साहब के फैंस के लिए this should be a textbook. Kashmir Ki Kali, because every song में his range is like, even ये the first one किसी ना किसी से, maybe the way he goes up and down, that वो पूरा खेला है उन्होंने सारे गानों में. So this is people who don't know, I don't think so ऐसे लोग होंगे, but if you want to introduce somebody to Mohammad Rafi Saab, I think it should be Kashmir Ki Kali.
Oh, I completely agree with you. And also
it should be O.P. Nayyar. Nayyar साहब का जो टच है, वो जो आर पार से शुरू होता है रफी साहब के साथ. रफी साहब को पूरा जो उन्होंने जो खुशी के मोल्ड में मोल्ड किया ना, दैट इज नैयर साहब. उसके पहले रफी साहब के सीरियस गाने, गजलें, क्लासिकल, ये सब बहुत आता था. लेकिन ये जो वाला जो उछल कूद का टच था ना, वो नैयर साहब आर पार से लाते हैं गुरुदत्त साहब के साथ से. एंड देन वो अपनी उरूज पे आ गया शमी कपूर साहब के साथ, और बाकी भी मतलब जो लोग हैं. कमाल है संगीत उसका. The real hero of the film is the music also.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I want to ask something to Ashim. Can I, Viveck?
Yeah, of course.
So I read somewhere in a Shamila Tagore ka interview कि इस shooting में, when they were shooting in Kashmir, बहुत लोग आते थे, and Shashi Kapoor had also visited the set, and वो तब तक थोड़े से hit हो चुके थे, उनके थोड़ी फिल्में आ गई थी, बहुत handsome लगते थे. She said that I could not take away my eyes from this handsome guy. So we were shooting some romantic scenes, and वो वहाँ पे खड़ा था.
On the sets of Isharo.
Okay.
Yeah, in Bombay, on the sets.
Okay.
And
then he was asked to leave the set because she was not able to concentrate. Is this true? The Shashi
Yeah,
Kapoor
yeah.
was asked to leave the.
Well, I was too little then, but I heard this from her in her interview,
Right.
that when she said that she had an infatuation for Shashi Kapoor, and when he came on the sets to meet Shami uncle, so she just got totally bowled over by the brother.
Sharmila Tagore and Shashi Kapoor did 10 films together.
They did so many films.
Yeah.
10 films. And Rajesh Khanna and Sharmila Tagore also did 10 films together. And the last film that Shashi Kapoor and Sharmila Tagore and Shami Kapoor did together was actually a Kumar Gaurav Rati Agnihotri starrer called Ek Se Bhale Do,
Yeah.
where they were both character actors. But somewhere he takes the accordion, he plays it, and he gets her on the floor, and they do a little jig together. It was very memorable. That was R.D. Burman. We'll go to that next week. What Mohammad Rafi is to Shami Kapoor, Rajesh Khanna and Kishore Kumar were to one another. So, last words, Pooja, about your grandfather?
Oh, well, I think Kashmir Ki Kali sort of highlighted Kashmir as well. I mean, it's been used so much as a backdrop in Hindi cinema, but I think Kashmir Ki Kali was the first almost tourist pamphlet for everybody. And I think it sort of, really married into my grandfather's identity, so much so that I think when he passed away, they had gone with his ashes to Kashmir. And they had an ode to him on the shikaras where they played Taarif Karu Kya Uski. And all the shikaras lined up and they played it on the loudspeakers, and everybody from the family had gone. And that was his greatest ode, because that's where he had become iconic, and Kashmir and he were almost synonymous together. So I think for me that was very important with this one.
So Vivek, I must interrupt.
Wow.
I'm sorry I lost track of time because this entire discussion has been so engrossing and so enlightening. I think all of you are encyclopedias in your own, and I'm sitting here listening to all of you, and we've actually overshot the time that I had budgeted. So I'm sorry, but in case there's anything very quickly anybody wants to add in, we will have to now stop the discussion and go on to the screening.
That's the movie. Which I'm looking forward to seeing too, except that I have one more webinar, but I'll catch it in the middle. And Divya, Tushar, Pooja, of course, Ashim ji's father's tribute. But y'all are welcome to join us tomorrow as well. Tomorrow we pay a tribute to Chinatown, which will be an outstanding discussion. And we will have my old friend and Ashim's old friend, Jotan Goel, with us also. And he will impart a lot. He's another encyclopedia, actually. One of the nicest people I know as well. So tomorrow is Chinatown. Tomorrow I'm looking forward to seeing all of you people. And thank you, Madhav. Any questions, Madhav, from the audience today?
I really think we'll have to skip that now because we have really overshot our time. So just thank you once again to everybody, Pooja ji, Divya ji, Ashim ji, Tushar ji, and of course, Vivek, thank you so much for conducting this and keeping us also engrossed. And let's now go over and see the movie, including the details that you have all shared with us on the film.
Don't miss on the title track.
Thank
Hear
you.
the title music. It's fabulous.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.